What is up, everybody? So I got a question on YouTube by someone who asks, um, I use Ninja Trader 8, and do you think I should switch to Jigsaw? If so, why? So I guess this is going to be the sales pitch of why you should switch to Jigsaw. Um, when I first got into trading, I only needed a depth of market. I didn't use like this heat map or the time of sales, and I learned from John Grady of no BS day trading, so I started trading bonds with Jigsaw because that's what he used. But as I became my own, things have evolved and changed, so I can give you my opinion on why a Jigsaw is superior. So first and foremost, if you're trading demo, Jigsaw hands down has the most realistic demo. I've ran demo side by side with my live account. There might be a little bit of slipping on your live account versus the demo by just one tick. I mean, the market moves so fast. So if I'm using a market order to get in, if I put it in at 45.75 and the market moves really quickly, it'll probably slip me up to 46 and that's it. Whereas on demo, it may get me in exactly at the right price. I had to use Rhythmic. Okay, so this is huge. I do need to talk about data here. CQG versus Rhythmic. They tend to be the industry leaders right now. They both CQG and Rhythmic actually, I've ran them side by side, and the data that comes in on the DOM is pretty much exactly the same. There might be little differences, like on Rhythmic this may say 245, whereas on CQG it says 243. Just little things like that. It's no big deal. That's just part of it. These numbers are going to be different slightly on different platforms. It's just how it is. The problem with Rhythmic, and I've reached out to support and made videos and all this shit, is if you do demo on Rhythmic, it is not realistic at all. And I know a lot of you guys are new and developing. You're on my channel. You're trying to figure this out. High probability you're using demo. So I suggest CQG. With Rhythmic, when the markets got very volatile with this whole entire COVID thing, if I set a market order out at, say, 46 and the market immediately shot through 46, as soon as that momentum would stop, Rhythmic would slip me like up to 8 ticks at times, 4 ticks, 3 ticks, 2 ticks. As soon as the momentum starts going on the depth of market, Rhythmic will not get you in until that momentum is over with. And a lot of my guys in my room that use Rhythmic have the same problem. With CQG, you won't have that problem. What's weird with CQG, though, on demo at times, if I chose to get in at 46 and the price does this weird thing, it might get me in at a better price, like 45.75. But what's interesting is when I live trade, sometimes the price slips me into an even better price. I don't know why that happens. It doesn't happen that often. It happens more so in demo than it does real life, but there are times where on my live trades it'll slip me in 2 ticks. So if I'm going long at 46 and the price kind of blips back and forth, it may actually get me in at 45.50, assuming you go for a market order. Another reason Jigsaw is so great is it has Smart Queue. So my first time using a demo was with TradeStation. Actually, no, I used Apex Futures or some shit. I don't fucking remember. But I remember distinctly with TradeStation is if you're gonna take a limit order, you're gonna be forced to wait in a queue. On TradeStation, if the price instantly touches you, you're in. So you don't get the realistic feeling of sitting in the queue. I do think live trading is a little bit smoother than demo, but they're pretty fucking close on Jigsaw. You wait in the queue on Jigsaw in the demo, which is great. So if you're new and you're getting into this, I think this is a great platform if you use CQG. If you use Rhythmic, you're going to get a really it's going to slip so bad on market orders, it's way unrealistic. And I've sent these videos to Rhythmic, and that's a whole nother story for another time, but basically their support was completely useless, and I don't like the way they answered. They gave me, they said, Rhythmic demo is realistic and it's fills, and I'm like, no, it's not. Did you not see my video? Here's a side-by-side comparison of a live trade. Like, I literally ran Rhythmic and CQG side by side, my live account, even CQG demo, and I would take a trade at the same spot on both on both depths of market at the exact same time at the exact same price. And Rhythmic was just, I'm not really happy with them. Now, if you're live trading, that's a different story. But their demo sucked with Jigsaw. CQG is hands down the most realistic. So if you're trying, and the thing with demos is when you're developing strategies, you're going to want to switch to demo. Okay? And when you're trying new shit out, you want it to be as realistic as possible. So that's one reason why you should go to Jigsaw. You pay the lifetime license. I know it's expensive, but you get it forever. Here's the thing about Jigsaw, though. You're going to have to pay data, which I believe is $11 a month for just the ES or CME data. If you want to trade bonds, that's an additional $11 because you go to CBOT. But for $11 a month, if you have Jigsaw, that's all you're paying to play on demo for as long as you need. And then the money comes out of your trading account. Of course, you do need a trading account with some sort of broker. I recommend AMP Futures. That's who I use. That $11 will come out of there monthly. So you do need a little bit of money to start an account as well. Of course, there's no way in fuck you're going to get into this on a budget. You got to have some sort of money. Another thing that's beautiful about Jigsaw is it's very easy to use. I hate learning new software. Where is this? I do not like using new software. And I'm missing this thing. Oh, that's not good. Let me shut down my Jigsaw and then reopen it real quick. Give me just a second. That sucks. There's several other things because Jigsaw is not just a platform, and we're gonna go into a few more really big things. This right here. This is awesome. Okay, so again, let me pull it up. Here we go. So this is sort of a tool. Oh my god, you gotta be fucking shitting me. There it is. I've been needing this window. I've been aggressively trying to get that window up. So, with Jigsaw, this is the main toolbar. This is how you connect to your data. This is how you can look at your P&L and your stats. Strategy Manager is cool. You can set up strategies to automatically put stops, targets in, or to scale out multiple contracts, and it's super fucking easy to use. Also, your time in sales, which is highly customizable. You can see I have 3 different times in sales. This one has the price, whereas these have nothing but just the orders. I like to see just the orders. I know what time it is, so I don't need that information, and that I find that to be useless information. And the more crap I have on my screen, the more clutter, the worse it is. They also have another type of time of sales called summary tape. It does different stuff as well. They got this breadth gauge. I don't use it. There's a lot of shit I don't use. They have Journal Ticks is awesome. So the thing about Jigsaw is you can use it with NinjaTrader or MetaTrader, I believe. There's a way where you can integrate it with that. So when you buy it, you get a lifetime license, and you can either use the standalone version or you can integrate it with certain platforms. I use the standalone version. With the standalone version, you're going to pay an additional $50 a month to take live trades. Again, if you're just trading demo, your only overhead is your data feed. But if you decide you want to actually execute live trades, okay, not demo trades, live trades, and again, the data is still going to be the same, but if you actually want to execute live trades on Jigsaw, it's an additional $50 a month. There's no lifetime shit. You either get a discount for an annual fee at like $500 or something like that, $600. I don't remember. I remember when it used to be $300, but the fucking price of Jigsaw is always going up. You can, it's $50 a month. If you're live trading and you know what you're doing, that's not a big deal. That's 4 ticks on one contract. But what's awesome, if you are paying for that data feed, or not, it's not data feed, not to be confused. If you are paying to actually execute live orders off Jigsaw, they give you the full version of Journal Ticks as well. Journal Ticks is made by Jigsaw. You can use that program standalone. If you want to know what Journal Ticks is, I'll show it to you. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on journaling. I've used 2 platforms. I've used Journal Ticks. I have Journal Ticks. And then I have Trader View through SMB because I was taking a challenge and I, for some reason, still have it, which is awesome. But basically, it's a dope-ass journaling thing. And journaling's not to be confused with Dear Diary. Today, I didn't feel good about my trade because of this. Yes, writing that shit out is important, but what's important about journaling is you can see these stats up here. You want to know the stats of your trades. You're able to categorize your trades with hashtags. So whatever your strategy is, you can have multiple strategies, and at the end of the week or the month, you can compare them with each other and see what strategy works better than this other strategy, and what time does this particular strategy work better at, what day of the week does this strategy work better at, what's the volume in the market, does it work better in high volume, low volume. So you can really dive down into the stats of strategies and build a playbook, and that is so fucking important. I've tried to do it manually through Google Drive and spreadsheets and all that, and it's too much of a pain in the ass, and you're never going to really, truly see how certain shit compares unless you spend copious amounts of time writing up custom shit in spreadsheets. And it's just too much of a pain in the ass that you do need some sort of journaling software. And also what's nice about Journal Ticks is if you're a scalper and you're taking a lot of trades, Journal Ticks will immediately send you a notification on your desktop. You click on it, and then it'll open up that particular trade, and it has emojis in it, and you click on the emoji of how you felt about it. What was your confidence going into the trade? How did you feel about the execution of the trade? How did you feel about exiting the trade? And you pick one of 5 emojis. It ranges all the way from a frowny face to a smiling face and everything in between there. And then you also have the ability to hook up a microphone. You have to have a Google Chrome browser for this. It's weird. I'll get into that some other day. But basically, you can hook up your microphone, and you can use voice to text. So I can, as soon as I execute a trade, say this trade right here, we'll watch it play out, I guess. I don't know. So as soon as I execute this trade right here, I'm like watching it. Okay, so I can, as soon as I get out of that particular trade, I hit the voice to talk, like the notification comes up, I click on it, I'm still watching the market, I just look to another screen and I click on this little microphone thing, and I basically say I just got in this trade, I felt confident about it because I was on the bottom end of size, it worked out pretty well, I took profits at the appropriate time, and then it'll write it all down. And usually voice to text technology sucks. It's pretty good on Journal Ticks. And then I'll come back at the end of the day and further refine and review each of these trades. But the problem is with journaling, if you don't get that information in right as soon as you take a trade, you're going to start to forget what exactly happened and how you felt about it. And what's nice about journal ticks is it allows you to do it very quickly with voice to text and then clicking on some emojis. And then you can come back and add hashtags to it, videos, pictures, whatever you want to do, and then look at the stats later. That's very, very important. And if you were an investment banker, and you would have to make monthly or quarterly reports and give it to your investors to show the performance of their portfolio, you need to know the performance of your strategies and your trades, because if you don't, you're just sitting there with your finger in your asshole and you have no idea what's going on. So you need to know why your strategies work and how well they work compared to other. You just need to know your stats. So there's that. They also have, again, this breadth gauge and all that. They have this real-time news feed. This is actually new, so they're always adding new shit. Not always, but they do add new shit, which is great. So this can come in with audio, so I can hear news reports, and it'll actually read out this, so I don't have to read it. And I can run filters. So in the futures market, there's certain economic releases like non-farm Fridays that are important. I can set this up to where it'll tell me the important things that are going to affect the futures market. I used to write a sticky note and set timers on my phone and all that. That's kind of a pain in the ass when you can set this thing up so it gives you a heads up before it happens. And that's nice. And if you do trade equities and news is a huge deal for you, this is pretty cool to have. Currently, I don't use it. And even a really good feature that I just started to use is, so it is Friday night, so unfortunately, there's no data coming in right now. But where's my time and sales? Let me pull up the time and sales real quick, which isn't here. Oh shit! I'm not gonna be able to show that to you. I'm not gonna go through digging through shit. So if you look on here, I have 3 pieces of time and sale. If you haven't watched my time and sales video, link in the description. You're gonna want to watch that. For those of you who watched it, this time and sales here is unfiltered. This time and sales over here is 20 lots or more. And I'm not going to explain why I do that. You need to go watch that video. And this time and sales is 99 and up, or what I call block orders. So you can see there's these music notes next to it. You get something called price squawk, which is also included, which is fucking amazing. Basically, it gives you audio cues. And the thing is, if you're not using audio in your trading, you're at a disadvantage, because that is one of your 5. I mean, you got 5 senses. You got smell, taste, see, touch, hear, whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't taste the markets or smell the markets, but you can see the markets. You can't really feel the markets, but other than just seeing the markets, you can utilize hearing things. So that's one of your other senses you can use. And that's pretty important. So I use a squawk thing for this. And again, it's included. So anytime this piece of tape moves, this 20 and up lot tape moves, it makes a different noise for when it goes up, and it makes a different noise for when it goes down. It makes like a pop, 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 pop sound as these blue orders come in on this piece of tape only. And then when the red orders come in, it goes click, 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 click. And it'll start to speed up. So if a bunch of them come together like this, it'll go click, 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 click. If a bunch of the blue orders come in, it goes pop, 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 pop. So if it goes pop, click, that means one blue, one red came in, or it'll go pop, pop, click, click. So that's pretty cool. You can make it the sound whatever you want. They have some pretty silly sounds like duck noises and shit. But so if you want to hear quacking as the market goes up, you can add that. As far as the blocks go, it'll go large buy. It'll go large buy. You can do female or male voice, or you can make a duck sound, Or if one of these blocks come in, like it would go, it'll go click, large sell, pop, click, click, large sell, click, 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 pop, pop. So I'm hearing this happen, and that really helps me understand when large blocks are coming in and when these mid-size orders are coming in. Now, if I'm not hearing any click, pops, whistles, duck sounds, if I'm not hearing any sounds and the market's moving, I know it's on this piece of tape here, which is the retail, and only any order 20 and under is moving the market, and I consider that retail, so I know that the move is sort of less important, or there's a potential for retail to get stopped out. And what I'm trying to explain is very fucking advanced for a lot of you, and you're not going to understand it, and you're probably confused. Basically, it's a sweet-ass feature. Another thing is, and I think this will be my final point, so the heat map, the only other software I know that has a heat map is Bookmap. I've never used it. I believe Sierra Charts may allow you to use a heat feature. Basically what that is this 308 bid has been sitting here for this long. So the longer the white bar is, the longer a large bid or offer is sitting. The hotter it glows, or the whiter it glows, the larger the bid. So 149, it makes it kind of gray. 308 is significantly more, so this is glowing hotter. Heat map, or it's called the auction vista. What's cool is this tool is very important. I need the heat map because it allows me to see how long a bid or offer is sitting. The longer a bid or offer is sitting, the more likely it is to be realistic. Unlike this 149, it just came in and it hasn't been sitting there that long and it's trying to catch the market. I know that if the price gets to it, since it hasn't been here that long, there's a high probability it's going to go through, whereas this has been sitting here for a little bit, there's a probability it might bounce off of it. And it's impossible to know how long a bid or offer has been sitting at a price. It is. So that's why the heat map exists, and that's why it's important, because it can show you market manipulation, and it's easier to identify these white bars than trying to calculate how long this number has been sitting there. But what's also, this is sort of the nail in the coffin right here. And this is going to be huge, and I'm going to compare it to Sierra Charts. Now, Sierra Charts, it has better charting. You can draw on Sierra Charts. You can look at daily profiles. There's things on Sierra Charts you simply cannot do with Jigsaw. But when it comes to either scalping or just getting into your position, this is it. This is like the microscope. So I do use Sierra Charts to find moves or potential. I use Sierra Charts to hunt down stuff. And this is a 4-second chart here. This is also a 4-second chart, but on Sierra Charts, I can zoom out of it. I can make these bars bigger or lower. I can scroll back and forth. Something I can't really do with this, and I can't really make it bigger or smaller. It's more of a pain in the ass, because if I try to make this bigger or smaller, it'll actually move all this crap as well. You can actually disconnect the chart, and you can manipulate it separately from the depth of market, or you can leave it connected, and all of this information scrolls together. Again, unfortunately, I don't have live market data, but as you can see, see that black line in the middle? I'm scrolling everything together, so everything moves, even the chart, and I can write notes next to the volume profile really quickly. These are hotkeys, so they're programmed. So I can write pivot right here, and when the price gets up here, I know I don't have to go searching on my chart where I wrote pivot. I don't have to go, like if I literally wrote pivot right here, I got to look at it, and then I got to bring up my crosshair tool and try to figure out what price is that at again. Whereas it's right here, it's next to the price. You can actually, you can't see that on this particular example, but I could write large size right here. So that's an example of that, and it all moves together. So having your price chart move in unison with your depth of market and having your volume profile and your footprint, and all of this stuff moves in unison with each other. I mean, you can see me actively scroll. So I should be scrolling at some point here. So see how it all moves together, everything. And this is something you probably haven't noticed, but it all scrolls together. That's very important. Because the thing is, if I'm not scrolling it, and let me get back to, I want to show you an example. So in this green box, this price action in this green box is the same price action you see right down here. So right here, 831. So this little green candle or bar is the same one right here. And it doesn't look the same. It's kind of confusing. So I could attempt to stretch it out. But notice how the prices seem spread out very far. Like the 45 and the 45.25 are right on top of each other. When you look at it, it's a little too spread out. So I'll bring it in a little closer, and then they start to disappear. But at the same time, it doesn't look quite as good as it does here. I know they both look shitty. I can read them. And they're both 4 seconds. So you know. So these are the same things. So just looking at it, and the problem with these bars is, if you notice these bars, they have little black lines in between them. We're going to explain that in just a second. But if you're running a depth of market and it's not working in unison with your price chart, it's going to be harder to look at your price chart and then match up certain areas on your DOM. Like my eyes have to go further from here to here. I mean, I could try to move it over or whatever, and I could probably like do this and then move it here. Pretend I don't have the heat map. I try to put it as close to my DOM as possible, but the problem is this shit doesn't move together. So I can't just look at this white bar and scroll over and go, oh, that's 45. If it's testing down here, I gotta kind of look at it and go, 45. It's right here. Here's 45. And then look at the DOM, and oh, 45's up here, so it's not exactly, so this test low isn't quite aligned with the price action on here, so this is moving up and down here, and then you have a little line moving up and down here, and it's not meshed and formed up, and I think that's huge. So here's what's really killer is these little bars. Look at this gray bar here. It is the same height as this, as the price, as the bid, as the offer. If you look at it, all this, even the little black lines in between these green bars, you can see little black lines in between the red bars and the green bars. Those are the exact same height as the price. So this green bar, and that's awesome, because if you look at this, even though this is a 4-second chart, it doesn't separate the bars per tick. And that's really helpful. And again, my footprint, and I try to scroll it for real, my footprint, my bids, my offers, my market orders, my volume profile, my heat on the heat map, and my price bars are all the same height. So you can easily go, oh, the pivot was at 45. I just move my eyes across the screen, and 572 absorbed on the footprint. Did you see how easy that was? If you're trying to use a separate price chart from your DOM and you're trying to use a separate footprint, it's going to take you longer to process that information and put it together to make a decision, where it's all together right here. It says I have one contract to go short right here. It's the same height and everything. It'll show me where I'm in the queue. It's just so easy. I know this pivot happened at 46 even, and I know that 376 market orders traded in there, so there's a little bit of absorption. Or I know this absorption right here. Notice there's more absorption right here, 1380. Well, I know that happened at 4650, and I know that it caused a bit of a pivot. Whereas if you had a separate footprint chart and a separate price action chart and a separate DOM and it's not moving in unison, you can't scroll it up and down at the same time, the shit's not the same height, that's a little confusing on the brain, and you're not able to process that information quick enough. And when you're not processing that information quick enough, that's an edge you don't have. So this alone, and it's compact. Everything I need is squished together. It moves together. Instead of running a price action chart on here, and then I would have another footprint over here. So my footprint is its own price action chart, but it's in footprint form. And then I got a separate price action chart, and then yada, 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 yada. It's too much shit. It's too confusing where it's all compact. It's all together. And my eyes don't have to move as far. And it's easier for me to identify things. Like I know this pivot right here, if I go over, was at 48.50. There's a little bit of absorption at 48.50. In fact, at the price above it at 49 even, there was 1,738 contracts that absorbed there. And it probably happened somewhere in this area. And I know that with these little black bars, I mean, it's just so much easier. It's so much easier to see it. And that's important. That's so important. It's no different than this. This is huge. This is huge. So I've already shared this HUD fighter jet. Okay, so this is huge, all right? I've shared this before. I'm going to share it again. Okay? Okay, so let's look at this picture. All this information in the green, a lot of this information, so this is a fighter jet. A lot of the information you're seeing in here, like the speed, the altitude, all this stuff is on the dashboard of the plane. However, if this was an enemy fighter and this pilot is in intense combat, he cannot take his eye off the enemy. So glancing down at the dash to get some sort of readout or indicator of some sort, to get this kind of information to figure out, because like this bar right here will roll with the plane, and it's like an artificial horizon. I'm sorry if you're not into aviation. So that will roll, and it will kind of let him know where he is, if he's upside down. Like if he's upside down compared to, you know, the earth or whatever. It shows him what angle he is at and all that shit. He can see this on the dash. But this is a heads-up display. All the information is here because he needs to be watching this jet if this is the enemy. And it's like, okay, my speed is 240, my altitude is 21,440, and his eyes don't have to go as far to calculate these things or to process this information and to be able to keep his eye on the enemy. That's exactly what Jigsaw is. That is exactly what Jigsaw is. Having everything the way I have it set up, including the tape, and watch my time and sales video, because most people stretch their tape all the way to the top, and I disagree with that. Again, watch my time and sales video, link in the description. But the way all this works in unison is like a heads-up display in a fighter jet. And this is like getting into a dogfight in a fighter jet. Getting into a dogfight in a fighter jet or an airplane in general is fast, intense combat. When you're scalping, it is fast and it is intense. You got to keep your eye on the ball, but you need to be able to process loads of information to make a decision, and you need to be able to see that information easily. This is why I recommend Jigsaw, and hopefully you can see that trying to find this pivot at this price is going to be a lot more difficult on this chart. Where's it at? It's right here. Took you a minute to try to find it, right? It's right here. So this exact pivot is right here. So, and again, when I'm scrolling, and again, this is going to be, you know, eventually it'll be misaligned to where the DOM will go down, and unless you're actively scrolling your chart with the DOM as it moves by itself, then you're adding in extra things that can totally be prevented. Again, when I scroll on here, everything moves in unison. Everything moves in unison. I'm trying to find... Watch how I scroll this up if it goes up. Watch how everything moves up at the same time if I scroll it up. Okay, I'm taking a fucking screenshot for whatever reason. Here we go. Here's where I scroll it all. All of it moves at the same time. I wonder if that trade worked out. That's a break even. But anyways, well, I'm not scrolling, but look how it works so well with each other. Look how these bars, see this little yellow line that kind of separates the price action bar, these little dots. That's pretty trick. It shows you the separation. It's a little visual aid. This little dots that you've never recognized just helps identify the separation of the price bar, whereas on here you don't know what tick this happened. Even though it's a 4-second bar, you don't know which tick. Whereas these bars are separated. See, I just barely scrolled it down and it all moved together. I'm trying to find another example of where I scroll it well. Right here, see how it all moved up together. That is why Jigsaw is worth it, in my opinion. It's a professional tool. Look how it all moves together. The footprint, everything. I know this pivot happened at 45 even, and I know only 3 contracts traded there. Even if I was to clear this out. I know that there was absorption here at 43.50 right in this price range. See how easy it was for me to do that, to call that out, to identify that? Whereas if your shit isn't working in unison, it's going to take you longer, and speed matters. Now, I'm going to be ending this video soon. There is let me see here if it's up. And again, with what's cool about Jigsaw is you do have your market orders. There's a lot of depth of markets that don't even show you the market orders. You can even add a column where you can see orders canceling. You can move shit around so easy. I can delete columns. I can even put the offer on the opposite side of the bid. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can just move things around so easy. The price, everything.